On the last video in this series, I got to talk to you about what life was like when I was a kid and got to go around my dad's house once a week, and how awesome it was when he bought the Sega Saturn. So that video was pretty much all focused around that console and what life was like with my dad at the time. But this time I want to talk about the other side of it all, what life was like at home living with my mum. Now, I've already said how she bought me the PlayStation, which inspired my old man to buy the Sega Saturn. Now, if you remember, I mentioned that my old man did actually get remarried a little down the line. Well, my mum didn't get remarried, not for a long time, but back then she had been with a few people, and I didn't like any of them. They were all really posh and snooty. They were office workers. My dad was a builder. Even as a kid, I had great respect for the working class, and pretty much none for anyone that spent their day pushing pens in an office. My mum would go out with a guy for a while, and he would always try and do that one really typical thing. He would try and replace my dad. Not completely, but whenever my mum was with someone, that someone always felt like, oh, this boy needs a father figure. I have a father figure. I have a dad. Just because I don't live with him doesn't mean he's not around. They always tried to discipline me. They always tried to put me in my place. Tell me I need to get out more. Need to live life more. Go outside, do stuff. I got a better idea. Why don't you fuck off? If I want to sit indoors and play video games all day, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But my mum did eventually go out with this one guy that was quite cool. He owned his own little business from what I remember, but he was a working class guy. He didn't just work in an office and push pens, etc. And I still remember to this day the first conversation he had with me. He came up and he said, Tom, I am not trying to replace your dad. I am not trying to do anything like that. I want to be with your mum and I want us to be mates. Now, what have I got to buy to make that happen? Not knowing what to make of this, I just turned to him and said, I don't have an N64. His response was, I have no idea what that is. 1 week later, I saw him again. He came up to my room and said, I'm afraid I could only find this one. It's got Pocky Monsters or some shit on it. He had got me the Pokemon Stadium Bundle N64 console. I immediately turned to him and went, Friend! You friend! Go away, me have new console! And that is how I acquired an N64. And for the first time in my life, I had all of the game consoles for one generation. I got the PlayStation because my mum saw how depressed I was. I got the Sega Saturn because my old man saw how depressed I was around his from not having the PlayStation there. And now I had an N64 because this guy just wanted to be a mate and get on with me. Makes sense, really. I mean, you don't want to go out with someone and then you got to put up with their little shit of a kid that you hate and hates you back. You might as well find a way to get them to like you. And hey, if buying a console does the trick, then do it. P.S. This was the only guy I got on with for ages that went out with my mum. She didn't stay with him for all that long, a year or two, can't quite remember. Years down the line, she would remarry someone else, and he was the only other guy that I got on with, but I digress. Anyway, now I want to talk about some N64 games. Unfortunately, I didn't get that many games back in the day, but that's because they were all so fucking expensive. Even then, I knew that cartridges cost a hell of a lot more than CDs. I got PlayStation games out the arse because I could get them at a decent price. Sega Saturn games? No, but that was just because of the lack of popularity in the console. You couldn't find the games anywhere in stores at the time. A real pisser. But N64 games I could find everywhere. I just couldn't fucking afford them. So a lot of games I got through birthdays and Christmases, or found them dirt cheap in pre-owned bins. So let's talk about a few of them games. First up is GoldenEye. Yes, I had GoldenEye as a kid. And no, I didn't fucking like it. Through owning a PlayStation, I had managed to get hold of friends for the first time in my life. And whenever they came round and saw an N64, they of course wanted to play it. The N64 was fantastic for multiplayer games. Mainly because of the fact you could have 4 controllers plugged into it at once. Yes, I know you could kind of do that with the PS1 if you had their multi-tap thing, which I bought, but I don't remember any fucking games using it. There was one called Blaze and Blade, so yeah, I remember that one, but 4 people trying to play that, you never moved anywhere. You'd have one dick wanting to go left, another dick wanting to go right, and then the map wouldn't move. Yeah, I'm digressing again. I should move on. GoldenEye was the game everyone wanted to play when they came round, and I got sick of it really, really quick. I have never liked first-person shooters. I find them boring. Go here, shoot this prat. Go over there, shoot this prick. It's the same shit again and again. Even then, I found it incredibly boring. The graphics, even then, didn't look that spectacular to me. I think there was a paintball cheat. That was kind of fun. Big head mode, yeah, kind of fun. For all of 5 minutes. I never liked this game. I did a video about it ages ago. A friend came round, he said the game is awesome, and I'm an idiot for thinking otherwise. I said, alright then, we'll play it. You prove me wrong. He couldn't. By the end of the video, he turned to me and said, no, you're right, this game is shit. I'm sure it was better back then, but you got to admit it's dated. Retro is something that has managed to stay top quality throughout the years. Dated is a game that might have been good in the past, but isn't now. Many games have built off of what GoldenEye was and have become superior. Don't get me wrong, I still don't like them because I don't like first-person shooters. But GoldenEye is so basic, it is now boring. Next game I had, Smash Brothers. How lucky was I to have this fucking game? I unlocked every character back in the day except for Ness. And the only reason for that was I didn't know how to. I know you would think it's simple how you've just got to get to the end of the game in normal mode with only 3 lives. I can only assume that I always had 1 life more in the bloody option thing. That's a pain, isn't it? I would have unlocked him by accident otherwise, I guess. A fantastic game. I managed to get my friends to step away from fucking GoldenEye and play this sometimes. Such a brilliant idea. Getting all of these different characters from different franchises and putting them in one fucking cartridge. I mean, Link versus fucking Pikachu? This is an incredible idea. Luigi getting eaten by Kirby? Another brilliant idea. Let's face it, no one likes Luigi, so seeing him get eaten by a little pink alien fucker, yeah, that's great. That's gold. Next game is one of the few racing games I have ever actually enjoyed. And that's because, like first-person shooters, racing games kind of bore me after a while. I like the Wipeout series, and I like Burnout Paradise City. That's about it. Except when I think of this one game, F-Zero X. This game was also given to me by the guy that gave me the N64. He just gave me the cartridge one day, no box or anything. I think he said his son had an N64, had this, didn't like it, thought fuck it, you can have it. Okay, free stuff, I'll have that. This game is phenomenally fast and bloody difficult to master. Back then a lot of people wanted to play Mario Kart. I had never played Mario Kart at this point, but I knew I loved F-Zero X. All of the characters / drivers in it, yeah, I didn't really care about any of them. None of them looked particularly cool in my eyes, but it doesn't really fucking matter when you only ever saw the spaceship thing driving. It was fast, it handled really well, and that's a big achievement because I've always thought the N64 controller is dick. 3 dicks, in fact. It's stupid. But on this game, the controller just seemed to work really well. Everything about the game worked really well. The speed, the control, the graphics. I love this game. And the funny thing is, I'd completely forgotten about it until I planned to do this video. I guess that must be because the F-Zero series has died but not died. I don't know what Nintendo's doing with it. Pretty much nothing by the looks of it. Next game is Banjo-Kazooie. This game, admittedly, wasn't mine. It was my sister's, but she fuck ever played it. She would do like 2 to 3 levels and then get bored. I think the reason she got bored was you could collect so many things in a level. But if you died or used all your lives, bear with me, it's been a while since I played this, you would lose all your shit and have to start again. And the levels were big. And if you wanted to collect everything and then die and lose that shit, yeah, you flip out a bit. But I haven't played Banjo-Kazooie in years, so maybe my memory's a little sketchy on that. All I know is it was really fun, really kiddie-ish, but I never completed it because, like her, I got kind of bored. But I had a good reason why I got bored with this game. It wasn't because the game was bad. No. There's nothing wrong with Banjo-Kazooie. It is a classic. But if you remember, when I got the N64, I got one of the bundle ones. The one with Pokemon Stadium. Oh my god, this game is epic. I never grew up with a Super Nintendo, but I did grow up with Game Boy. I fucking love Game Boy to this day. So because I never had a Super Nintendo, I never got to play my Game Boy games on a television. But thanks to the N64, I could play Pokemon Red on the big screen. And that was fantastic. Pokemon Red is probably my favoritist Game Boy game. I can't think of one that would come up ahead of it, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Pokemon Red's my fave Game Boy game. But Pokemon Stadium wasn't just awesome because it gave you that feature. Pokemon battling in 3D? Alright, Pokemon Stadium is pretty much nothing but battles, but it was incredible battles. I unlocked fucking everything as a kid. And when you had friends round, you had them stupid little Pokemon mini games. My god, they're addictive. We play that shit for fucking hours. By the way, there was that one mini game, the one with the Kakuna and the Metapods, where you had to harden the Pokemon as quick as you could before the rocks hit you, but you had to do it in like a split second, like the blink of an eye. I was shit hot at that minigame. Really good. Awesome at it. I don't think anyone beat me. Of course, when it came to that Clefairy memory game, yeah, wasn't very good at that one. Mainly because I can't remember anything. Ever. Pokemon Stadium is, to this day, one of the best Pokemon games ever. I know many people will argue with me over that, but I don't care. Pokemon Stadium is awesome. 6 out of 5 stars. That level of greatness. Now I have only one more game to talk about, and it's the game you've been watching in the background. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This was the first Zelda game I ever played on a home console. The only one I had ever played before that was Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening is an incredible game, of course. It's just incredible. It's amazing. I love that damn game, and the fact that it's getting remade for the Nintendo Switch, 3D and all that. Oh god, I can't wait to buy it on day fucking 1 and complete it on day fucking 1. Because I'm just gonna. I just have to. So to go from that to this, holy shit! Now back then, if you were a big Zelda fan, you were probably going over what the hell's going on with the storyline. Is this a remake of the first Zelda, or are we a whole new Link? Well, I never got to play the first Zelda, so I never had these problems floating around in my mind. All I knew was that I loved this game. The ability to just fuck off anywhere and do anything you wanted, that was great. You know, I'll do the story whenever I damn well feel like, but for now, I'm fucking off over here. Because reasons. I didn't complete this game as a kid. I got stuck in the Forest Temple. No, not the Deku Tree, I mean the Forest Temple. Yet the funny thing is, when this game was re-released on the 3DS, I bought that, got to the Forest Temple, and completed it without a problem. I don't know where it is I got stuck as a kid. I'm now playing the N64 version for the first time in years, because I want to see if I can get stuck again, if that makes any sense. I once mentioned how I played Tomb Raider as a kid and got stuck like fuck, then played the PS2 remake years later, and found out the reason why I was stuck was there was a switch that didn't look like a switch because of the crappy graphics. In the PS2, I could make it out due to the better resolution rendering and all that shit of graphics, but on the PS1, it just looked like a load of old nothing. So I'm wondering if I got stuck on the N64 version of Ocarina of Time because there's something that looks like nothing, and in the 3DS, it looked like a something. Do you see my logic? No? Well, I don't blame you. This is one of the best Zelda games ever created. And of course, the biggest reason for the sales in ocarinas throughout history. 90% of the planet that actually knows what an ocarina is wouldn't know what an ocarina is, if not for this game. Anyway, that's the N64, and that's some of the games I had as a kid. I had a couple of crappy ones as well, but they're not worth mentioning. And there you have it. I had the PS1, the Sega Saturn, and the N64. A lot of my friends thought I was the luckiest kid around. They were very wrong. Yes, I had many different ways to escape from reality, but let's face it, you can only escape from reality through video games for a little while. And when you're a kid and you're not in charge of what you do in your own time, yeah, life can creep in and kind of kick you in the teeth. School was hard. Family life was still quite difficult. This was round about the time when I would find out why my parents had split. I won't go into that one. It's not really important, but yeah, I wasn't happy about it. It was pretty bad. It would be a few years of me playing these consoles with my friends and enjoying myself to the best of my abilities. And we all just waited for the day when the next generation of consoles would be released.